Good morning and welcome to Let's Talk Real Estate with Corina Cisneros. Today's show is sponsored by Blue Water Mortgage, Allstate Insurance, Dana Gunnarsson Agent, and the Cisneros Realty Group, led by Corina Cisneros and powered by eXp Realty. It's time now to join our host, Corina, and Let's Talk Real Estate on 101.5 WEEI Sports Radio, Lakes Region.
And good Saturday morning. My name is Corina Cisneros, Realtor with the Cisneros Realty Group, powered by eXp Realty. We cover the New Hampshire Lakes region from Concord to Franconia. Our show focuses on all aspects of real estate, and in the next 30 minutes, we'll share with you important information that will help you with either buying or selling your home. Today, we have a returning guest, Matt Johnson, shareholder of Divine, Miliment and Branch, and legal counsel to the New Hampshire Realtors. Welcome, Matt.
Thanks for having me.
Matt is joining us by phone. He's always very busy, but never busy enough to have some time with us and our audience. Last month, we had a chance to talk with Matt about some provisions in the standard New Hampshire purchase and sale agreement. And today, I thought it would be interesting to look at the standard exclusive listing agreement, which New Hampshire Realtors use to list and sell your home. So, Matt, why don't we start with paragraph number 2 and tell us what that says and why it's so important.
So paragraph 2 of the agreement sets the dates by the time period where the listing agreement will be in effect. This is vitally important for 2 reasons. One, for business reasons, you want to have a clear understanding with your seller client how long you have the exclusive listing. But more importantly, the New Hampshire Real Estate Commission requires a listing agreement to be in writing and have a specific end date. So you cannot have an agreement that does not have a date certain as the end point.
Okay, let's say, as an example, the seller agrees with the realtor for, let's say, what usually is about 6 months of a listing time. And during the course of that relationship, something happens and the seller is not happy. Can they get out of the contract in some way? How do they do that, and is that possible?
That is a great question. Interestingly, and somewhat by design, the exclusive listing agreement does not provide a clear path contractually for the seller to get out of the listing agreement. We, on behalf of the realtors, did not want it to be too easy for our sellers to get out of the agreement. As a practical matter, being that this is a relationship-based business, my advice to people has always been that if you have a listing and the seller is unhappy for whatever reason, that you are better off releasing them from the listing and avoiding a potential licensing complaint before the Real Estate Commission or a even lawsuit over a dispute over the sale of the property. But there's actually no specific mechanism for either the realtor to terminate the agreement prior to the end date or the seller to terminate the agreement prior to the end date.
What if it's the other way around? What if the realtor feels that they're not able to do as a contract says? Can the realtor step out of the contract?
Again, the contract doesn't provide a specific mechanism, but if the seller is not living up to their responsibilities, then I believe with some dialogue and communication with the seller, you can get an agreement where the parties will enter into a document terminating the listing agreement and allowing both parties to move forward. Examples of that would be cases where a listing agent may have taken a listing and the seller is just not available or will not return calls or will not provide any information. In those set of circumstances, I usually advise listing agents to convince the seller that maybe it's best to go their separate ways and sign a release document so that listing agreement is terminated. Listing agent can spend their time with other potentially more lucrative sellers, and the seller can find another agent.
So in New Hampshire, we practice what's called, well, not everybody, but we practice designated agency. So the listing agreement is actually in the name of the broker. Can you just explain to our audience what that means?
Sure. So there's a couple different models of agency in New Hampshire, one of which is designated agency. That means if your agent you are working with is practicing designated agency, the listing agreement should have the names of at least one and preferably several agents or whom are effectively contractually assigned to work for you and only for your benefit. And those agents who are on that listing form are your agents, and they owe you full duties of care and obedience and confidentiality and all that comes with being an agent to you. But other agents in the firm that are not specifically identified on that form do not. They can work with other listing agents. They can work with other buyers. They can even be on the other side of the transaction you're involved in. So that's the key factor. If you have designated agency as the listing agent, you should take care to make sure you have at least two agents identified as the designated agents so that you have some backup if one of the agents is either busy or on vacation or has another commitment.
Okay. There is a clause here called disclose dual agency. In New Hampshire, this is allowed as long as both seller and buyer agree to this. Can you explain a little bit further, please?
Sure. So, as you said, disclosed dual agency is allowed, but it has to be with advance written consent by the buyer and the seller. And a traditional agency model, that would happen when two agents in the same firm, one represents the listing party, and the other represents a party trying to buy the house. Now, that arrangement can happen, but again, both parties would have to sign a dual agency consent form in writing and acknowledge that, and then those agents would not be able to pick sides and instead would have to act neutrally, essentially, to facilitate the transaction.
And is that even possible, do you think?
I think it is legally possible. I think it is practically very difficult to achieve. That was one of the reasons that designated agency was introduced into the license law probably 10 years ago now, because under designated agency, if the designated agent owes full duties to their listing client and then another agent in the firm can be a designated agent for a buyer client and owe them the full duties, and they both can exercise all their powers and skills to facilitate the transaction legally. So that's why that model is often viewed as a, practically speaking, better solution. To be clear, just not to be too technical for your audience, even in designated agency, you can have a dual agency situation, but that would be if the single individual agent wanted to represent both sides of the transaction. It is legally possible with the consent of both parties, but I do not recommend doing it.
In the rest of the country, do we have states that do not allow dual agency?
My understanding is different states have different brokerage relationships. There are some states have moved to a more transactional model, which is even different than New Hampshire. So yes, it's very state specific. And I suspect but do not know that some states would not even allow the dual agency. I think it is legally possible, but practically I think it's very problematic.
Okay, let's take a break, Matt. We'll be right back with Matt Johnson, shareholder of Divine, Miliment and Branch, and legal counsel to New Hampshire Realtors. It's time to take a break and hear from our sponsors. We'll be right back with more Let's Talk Real Estate after this on 101.5 WEEI Sports Radio Lakes Region.
With the purchase of a new home, you have a lot of choices in homeowner insurance. Working with a local professional to get the right insurance for your home and family is essential. Protect your home with Allstate Insurance and use your local agent, Dana Gunnarsson. Dana is local to the Lakes region and takes the worry out of homeowner insurance. She handles everything from start to finish, working directly with your mortgage lender. She customizes a policy that fits your budget and your needs. Contact Dana directly at 630-9754. You're in good hands with Allstate and Dana Gunnarsson.
Jonathan Ferrante and his team at Blue Water Mortgage is your local mortgage company. They take great pride in guiding clients through the home buying process to help them realize their home ownership dreams. They understand that buying a home can seem stressful, but it doesn't have to be when you work with Jonathan and Blue Water Mortgage. He's available 24/7 to answer any questions and has the tools and resources to give you personalized service, great products, competitive rates, and no surprises. Let Blue Water Mortgage help you get started on your journey to home ownership. Jonathan Ferrante, NMLS number 1694126. Blue Water Mortgage, NMLS number 1291.
This is Let's Talk Real Estate with Corina Cisneros on 101.5 WEEI Sports Radio Lakes Region. Once again, here's Corina.
And we are back with Matt Johnson of Divine, Millement and Branch and legal counsel to the New Hampshire Realtors. We're discussing the exclusive listing agreement that all realtors in New Hampshire who are realtors use to help their clients sell their home. Special conditions clause number 8. You mentioned to me that that was a clause that you wanted to highlight. Can you tell us why, please?
Yes, I think this is a section that sometimes agents will skim over, or particularly in the digital age when you have agents either through ZipLogic or .loop or one of these programs to send these forms digitally to a potential client. I think it's important to walk through these particular yes/no boxes because they carry some very significant information, and they very much define for the seller and the agent what the terms of the agreement is. There is even there's a section as to whether the property can even be listed on the MLS.
Correct.
The seller has to consent to that information.
Also, whether a sign can be placed on the property, that's another one.
Absolutely. And so it's a lot of details, and it becomes second nature to agents, but it's not second nature to parties selling their house. And so I just encourage agents to take time and the care and really walk through those particular conditions and explain them to the seller and explain what the options are so that it's a more informed discussion.
For example, here's another one. Seller agrees that video or virtual tour photography is allowed at the firm's discretion. Another one is, can the firm disclose existing of other offers? You want to comment on that one?
Yes, they have to. I mean, that's ultimately up to the seller to give the agent that discretion. One of the reasons we have that box on the form is early on in the transaction, we want to get the guidance from the seller on whether you can do that so that you don't have to go back to the seller every time an offer is commenced. What it doesn't discuss is whether you can also tell a potential buyer what the amount of that offer is, and there's reasons both pro and con for allowing that. But again, there's a lot more detail in this section than maybe meets the eye when you first look at it. And there's also ways that agents potentially can get in trouble if they have the seller check certain box, but then their documentation doesn't follow through, or they don't do it the way that the listing agreement says they should do it.
Absolutely. As a listing agent myself, going through every single line, making sure the seller understands his or her options is critical to the foundation of a great experience to sell the house. All right, let's move on to additional provisions, which is actually at the bottom of the listing agreement, which is one big blank rectangle. So what are the things that we can put in there, or what would you advise sellers and realtors about that box?
So a couple of points there that are hot button issues where I could see additional provision language being included in the listing agreement. One is to the extent there's a reason to have delayed showings. So, for example, if they want to get it on the market, but the seller wants to hold off, maybe they're doing repairs to the house that are not quite done, or the photographs aren't ready yet, that'd be a place where you would want to spell that out so there was no confusion between the seller and the listing agent. And second, I think an increasing issue, and the one area where we are considering whether to update this form, is to discuss whether the seller has any audiovisual recording equipment in the house and whether that equipment will be on or off during any showings. This is really an emerging area in the law where we're struggling to figure out what the right balance is between buyers and sellers of real estate. The technology has proliferated such that increasingly homes have some form of video or audio recording devices in them, and so this could be an area where if the seller has a particular type of system that the parties can come to an agreement of whether the system will be on or not, because whether it's on or not poses some legal risks for the seller. So this is an area where I believe this section could be filled out to address that situation.
Okay, well, we're just about out of time. Having Matt Johnson on our show is very valuable to us realtors and to our audience. Next month, I'd like to invite Matt to come back on the show to discuss what is a buyer agency agreement. Would you do that, Matt?
Sure.
Okay, as always, thank you, Matt, for your time, and to the New Hampshire Realtor Association to lend you to us for this show. Okay, Matt, thank you so much for being on the show.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. Okay, it's time to take a break and hear from our sponsors. We'll be right back with more Let's Talk Real Estate after this on 101.5 WEEI Sports Radio Lakes Region.
Buying and selling real estate is hard, but it doesn't have to be when you partner with an agent that has a proven track record of success. The Cisneros Realty Group, led by Corina Cisneros and powered by eXp Realty, helps you fulfill your homeownership dreams through a caring and trusting relationship. They provide exceptional service and advocate for your best interests. The Cisneros Realty Group is your trusted real estate advisor, creating a long-standing relationship now and in the future.
Hi, this is Corina Cisneros. For many years, clients have been putting their trust in me and my full service team. We dedicate ourselves to getting you the most for your home. Remember my name, Corina, like the song. Corina, Corina.
Turbocharge the sale or purchase of your home with the professionals at the Cisneros Realty Group, led by Corina Cisneros and powered by eXp Realty. 6 Loud Road, Concord, New Hampshire. Experience and integrity you can trust. The Cisneros Realty Group. Online at nhlakeshomes.com. This is Let's Talk Real Estate with Corina Cisneros on 101.5 WEEI Sports Radio Lakes Region. Once again, here's Corina.
I'm joined by special friend and guest, Shannon Allan from Universal Property Management. Welcome, Shannon.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Good morning.
It's a pleasure. Today we're going to talk about property management. Now, Universal Property Management covers from the Seacoast to the Lakes region, and then from Concord to Manchester. Shannon, why and when may somebody want to call you for property management?
Well, a lot of homeowners get into buying investment property and they do self-manage on their own for a while, but sometimes it just becomes too much of an ordeal for them. There are too many issues that they have to deal with, and it prevents them from buying more investment properties. So they may call us to come in and handle the management so they can focus on growing their portfolios.
Okay, so let's just talk about the beginner.
Sure.
For example, myself, I've been thinking about buying my first income property.
You
rental.
should.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, why do you think that's important?
I think it's great. Just like with any financial plan, it's great to diversify your investments, and investing in real estate is a great thing to do. It creates a form of passive wealth income that just continues, to build up your portfolio.
So I'm the beginner, and I'm going to buy my first property.
Sure.
What happens next? So let's say I buy it, but because I know you, I'm going to have you look at it with me before I buy it,
Sure.
for example, just to make sure that you may see some red flags and you may want to tell me, no, not this one because ABC. Corina, this could be a great one because of ABC, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So let's say I buy it. What are the options that I have? Because I'm a busy person. I have my own real estate career. I may not want to get involved with looking for tenants. I may not have time to do the maintenance or the property management and then get my papers at the end of the year for my tax reporting. So what is it that you do more or less?
So we handle all of those things for you. We'll find your tenants and screen them, put them in the property, and then we're there to handle all the tenant issues. We handle their maintenance calls. We handle collecting the rent, following up if there are late payments. We are available 24/7 for emergency maintenance. So there's always, we can always take care of that so you don't have to deal with it. The things like the hot water heater that break, they never break at a timely, manner. So it'll be Friday when you're trying to get out of town, and then you have to deal with your tenant issues. So we'll handle all of that for you. We also offer full service accounting and can basically run off any reports that your accountant needs at the end of the year to make sure that you're covered.
All right. So this sounds pretty comprehensive.
Yeah.
How do you come up with a price structure for these services? Can you give us an example?
Yeah, sure. So we handle everything for you, and it's basically a flat fee. So you're paying a percentage of the monthly rent each month. Leasing services are going to be a little bit different. That's also a percentage of the first month's rental fee, and then that's just kind of structured every month. There are additional fees if you need our maintenance services. We also work with third-party vendors and owners themselves to perform maintenance on their properties.
So basically you have like a menu of services.
Yes, exactly.
So somebody might want to hire all of the areas that you do, or maybe one or two of them.
Exactly. I've had owners that are actually comfortable managing their own properties, but they want some help with the leasing side, so we can do that for them. I've also had owners that really, maybe they're do-it-yourselfers, they're very handy, so they want to do a lot of the maintenance on their properties. So they still want us to manage them, but they want us to contact them because they may, decide to go and do the maintenance themselves.
And how long have you been involved in this area?
So I've been doing property management for the last 13 years.
Okay, that's a long time.
It is.
What has changed from 13 years ago from today in property management?
I would have to say that the biggest change has been technology. Pretty much anything today can be done online. Tenants pay their rent online. They apply for properties online. Everything is automated.
How many properties does your company have in their portfolio today that you're overseeing?
So currently we have about 315 properties, but we're adding more every day.
Wow, that's a huge amount.
Yeah, it is. It's great though.
How do you find time for all of those?
It's our full-time job so that the owner can do whatever else they're doing in their lives. So we're taking care of them around the clock.
Shannon, tell us about your Good Neighbor program and why do we need it?
So this is a great program, and it makes a lot of sense up here where we live in vacation land. We have a lot of second home owners, and basically what this program provides for them is that peace of mind. It's kind of a home watch program, but a little more involved. So we can tailor it to each owner's needs, but this is for the homeowner that maybe isn't able to visit their property for long stretches of time. And it lets them just kind of have that peace of mind that someone is watching the property. We do weekly or monthly inspections to make sure that everything is in working order. We do both exterior and interior inspections. And then we can also arrange for any maintenance needs that they need. And almost like a concierge program. So a lot of our owners that come up in the summer, we have the house cleaned for them. We can have the refrigerator stocked and ready. So when they get to their house, they have everything they need there.
That sounds pretty inconvenient. How much does that cost?
So it depends. It's basically kind of, as before, it's a menu of services. So owners can kind of pick and choose what they want. We have some owners that only want us to do walkthroughs in the winter. We want some owners that want a little more hands-on service. So we tailor it to each individual homeowner.
So give us an example of what you've found in one of these walkthroughs that you discovered that it was good timing.
Oh, sure. So I think one of the biggest issues up here are the winter possible damage to a property. So I was doing a walkthrough and noticed that the heat didn't seem to be on. The property had actually run out of fuel. The fuel company did have the property on automatic delivery, but something had happened in the schedule. And luckily, we were there just in time to catch it before the pipes froze. So it did save the owner a lot of money and headache because we do see those kinds of issues in the winter up here.
I mean, if there was one thing that you would recommend to potential clients for universal property management, what would that be?
So pretty much every every property that an owner buys is an investment, and they want to protect that investment. But whether they're not here, they don't have the knowledge, we do annual or semi-annual inspections and give them updates on the condition of the property. So we can actually help them set up long-term, short-term, and long-term maintenance plans to make sure that their investment is protected.
Well, again, I'm not going to buy anything without Shannon or Universal Property Management being there. Excellent. Okay. It's time to take a break and hear from our sponsors. Thank you for listening this morning. We'll be right back with more Let's Talk Real Estate after this on 101.5 WEEI Sports Radio Lakes Region.
Jonathan Ferrante and his team at Blue Water Mortgage is your local mortgage company. They take great pride in guiding clients through the home buying process to help them realize their home ownership dreams. They understand that buying a home can seem stressful, but it doesn't have to be when you work with Jonathan and Blue Water Mortgage. He's available 24/7 to answer any questions and has the tools and resources to give you personalized service, great products, competitive rates, and no surprises. Let Blue Water Mortgage help you get started on your journey to home ownership. Jonathan Ferrante, NMLS number 1694126. Blue Water Mortgage, NMLS number 1291.
With the purchase of a new home, you have a lot of choices in homeowner insurance. Working with a local professional to get the right insurance for your home and family is essential. Protect your home with Allstate Insurance and use your local agent, Dana Gunnarsson. Dana is local to the Lakes region and takes the worry out of homeowner insurance. She handles everything from start to finish, working directly with your mortgage lender. She customizes a policy that fits your budget and your needs. Contact Dana directly at 630-9754. You're in good hands with Allstate and Dana Gunnarsson.
And welcome back to Let's Talk Real Estate on 101.5 WEEI. I am your producer, Keith Murray, with a new segment called Getting to Know Corina. Where we get to interview Corina, we turn the tables on her. And we get to know Corina a little bit. Corina?
And by the way, I don't know any of these questions.
No, not in advance. No, This is the big secret.
Oh, my God.
So, we've noticed, Corina, you have a slight accent.
Oh, yes.
So, tell us where you're from and how you came to the United States.
Okay, well, I was born in Caracas, Venezuela, off the Caribbean in South America. And so I'm fully bilingual. Spanish is my first language, so I can say like, buenas tardes, buenos días, mi nombre es Corina. So I was lucky to have a chance to come to the U.S. when I was very young to learn English. My father got a promotion, came to work for a U.S. company, and then we went back. And then later in life, as we all know, a really bad guy took over the country named Chavez. I was in my early 30s back then, and I said, that's it, I'm leaving, I'm not putting up with this, and that's how I ended up in the U.S. And I am one of the lucky ones in the entire world to have come here to this country legally, and last year I became a United States citizen, and I am proud to be an American.
Very good. So we will continue the Getting to Know Corina segments throughout the rest of the shows as we go, and so people can get to know you as we progress in your series of shows here. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Well, it's a pleasure. All right, join me next Saturday morning at 8:30 a.m. for another episode of Let's Talk Real Estate. And if you or someone you know is looking to purchase a new home or sell, please contact me at 603-273-6160. You can also find me on Facebook, YouTube, or on our website at nhlakeshomes.com. And remember, mi casa es su casa. And my name is Corina, like the song Corina, Corina. Until next week, play my song.
Corina, 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 I love you so.
Let's Talk Real Estate is presented by the Cisneros Realty Group and sponsored by Blue Water Mortgage and Allstate Insurance, the Joe Suazo office in Derry, New Hampshire. Let's Talk Real Estate is a production of Modern Media LLC, CRG TV, and MR Strategic Alliance LLC, all rights reserved. Join us every Saturday morning at 8:30 and Let's Talk Real Estate with Corina Cisneros, Realtor, on WEEI 101.5 Sports Radio Lakes Region.